much energy in the room. I loved coming in here and just seeing all your smiles and all the conversations and connections. So a very, very warm welcome from me to all of you for what is a very, very special evening tonight. My name is Suryagupta, and I've got the pleasure of hosting this special evening where we're going to be welcoming back 5 new beings, new order members into our community. So yeah, very warm welcome, and again, especially if it's your first time at the centre. For some of you it might be first time at centre or the first time at Dharma night. Yeah, very special warm welcome to you. And I hope, whether it's your first time, whether you've been coming to these for many years, I hope, well, I know this happens actually, on these evenings where we're welcoming back these 5 new beings, we really get a sense, a glimpse into the potential, the degree of transformation that can happen when somebody commits themselves to meditation, to practice, to leading a spiritual life. We really get that, in all in what they're going to be sharing with you. We see it. Sometimes we see it very tangibly for those of us who know them. They almost sometimes look different, and they'll be sharing their experience recently, which has been what they've been going through is a very deep, a very profound initiation, a very deep, a very profound transformation. So all of our 5 new beings, they have entered the order, they've become ordained into the Triratna Buddhist Order, and their process of doing that we're going to be hearing about tonight was spending several months in some mountains, Spanish mountains. And I've been to one of these Spanish mountains, and they're quite magical places. They are quite, it's almost like you're getting, it's like nature unspoilt, sort of undiluted. You have the mountains, you have these vast skies, you have these bold golden sunsets, vultures, it's kind of quite a dramatic landscape. And it's a dramatic landscape where something dramatic is happening. Because they've gone to these mountains, as their old selves, as it were. And in that process, they've been meditating very deeply several times a day. They've been studying the teachings of the Buddha, the Dharma, and applying those teachings. And they've been doing that in community. They've been engaged with others also doing the same thing. And they've been guided by very experienced ordained members. And I think in that time, they've really been allowing themselves to see themselves more clearly, see their views, their habits, their conditioning, all the things that limit them, all the things that constrict them, and be prepared to, let that go, loosen it, even let it go, and make space for a new being to come into being. So that's quite a dramatic event, really. It's quietly done, I believe, but dramatic nonetheless. And transformation, growth is not an easy thing to do. I mean, it sounds like it could be very idyllic. We'll hear whether it's idyllic for them and whether they were inspired the whole time. But I know that actually any real change that goes deep takes effort, and it can be very challenging. I've just come off a 10-day retreat, and it's just 10 days compared to several months. But it was challenging at times because you're really beginning to open up and be prepared to go, actually, who am I really? And what else is there? Is there more of me than I really allow myself to ordinarily see in my day-to-day life? And what does wisdom look like? What could it be if I lived with wisdom, if I lived with love, and I lived for metta? What could that be like? So you're really preparing yourself to open up to that. So our 5 beings have been in that process for several months. But even before that, they've been training for years. They've been, going on special retreats and, being in communication with other ordained members and training for that experience for many years. So, I don't know who we're going to meet tonight. I don't know. I knew who they were before they went, but I don't know really what's arriving back this evening. So that's where this kind of excitement comes. And I said it can be challenging. So they might have had idyllic, beautiful several months away. But the fact of the matter is, going through any kind of initiation, as I said, is challenging, where they've really got to there's a part in the ceremony actually where you've got to be prepared to do this by yourself. Like if nobody else was going to commit to developing wisdom, to developing love, to developing compassion, you would still do it. So that takes some courage, doesn't it? And then there's another part of the ceremony where, you're not alone. It's a public, everybody, there are other people who are doing it alongside you and you're joining an order. So I'm particularly as well pleased that they're joining the order that I'm part of. All of us here who were in these cases, we've been through this experience. But every experience is unique. Every journey is unique. Tonight we get to hear what their particular journey, has been. And also what qualities, what gifts they're bringing back. And we hear some of that through their experience, but also through their new names. We're going to be hearing them explain their new names. And really what that is they're bringing these qualities back to the world. They've been through a transformative experience, but they're very much bringing it back into relationship, into our community, into the world. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be hearing from our 5 new people. I'm not saying their names because they're going to be introducing themselves for the first time publicly. So we'll hear, their new names. And so what we're going to do, we're going to prepare the space a little bit for their arrival, honouring the fact that they've been through this process. We're going to prepare the space, and we'll do that by some of us will remain in the room, and I'm going to suggest those of us who are ordained remain in the room, and we're going to be bringing them to mind and really cultivating a space of metta, of loving kindness for them to come into. And everyone else will be forming a kind of line for them to walk through, really sort of like just greeting them as they emerge. I don't know how they're feeling tonight. They might be really excited, they might be really nervous, but what I do know is that when they see you smiling as you were when I walked in, I'm sure that will, if they're nervous, that will completely lift them, and they'll remember why they're doing it as well. They're joining a community, they're in relationship with others. So you're going to form a line out there, and then when they emerge, you'll be given some things to bestow upon them. So that will also warm them up, won't it? And then they'll come in, and we will begin to hear from them. There'll be a short break. We'll hear from a couple of people, and there'll be a short break. So I'll say a bit more when they arrive, like the order of the evening, when they're going to speak. All right. So you understand what ordination is a bit. You'll hear more from them about what it means for them, the significance, and I think we're ready to get going. So let's start. Actually, what we'll do, we'll start the mantra first. Dhanutar will start us in the Avalokiteshvara mantra, and the Avalokiteshvara is the Buddha of compassion, and he's a symbol for the order. So, Dhanutar will start us off, all of us in that mantra, and then some of you will proceed. let's all salute the shrine. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dhammaya. Namo Dhammaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Namah. Namo Namah. Om. Hum. Hum. So a very, very warm welcome to you all, our new beings. I said a little bit about what this evening means and what you have imagined. I've imagined what your experience might have been, but we have you now here with us, and really looking forward to hearing you share some of your experience of being initiated into the Triratna Buddhist Order, and the process of what it's like at this point in time for having committed your lives to the three jewels, to the Buddha, the ideal of enlightenment, the ideal, the possibility of freedom, of real complete liberation, to the teachings and the path that helps you, guides you along the way that you tread, all the teachings that you've been applying when you've been up in the mountains, and then to the community, to the Sangha, spiritual community. Really sort of I was saying that it's a very, can be a challenge, and it's certainly a courageous act, and you've not just done it for yourself, you've done it for all beings. So we're going to hear from, I believe, Samantavajra first. It's all right, I said your name. The cat's out the bag, I said your name. Otherwise I'm going to have to point. So we're going to hear from Samantavajra, and then we'll hear from, after that, who's next? Yes. Maybe I won't attempt. I'll hear back your name first. So we have two speakers, and then we'll see what the time is. If we need a leg stretch, then we'll have a leg stretch, and then we'll hear from the other three. Okay? So yeah.
Wow. Didn't expect that at all. Thank you very much for that already. It's amazing to be here. Thank you so much for all being here, and it's just lovely to see very friendly and mostly familiar faces. So yeah, I'm just delighted. So these talks are usually an occasion to say thank you to people who have contributed to us being here, and then to talk a bit about the retreat. So I'll just do that in this order. So thank you first. Well, I need to start at the start, and for me it all started with my parents and my family. So I just owe them so much. So my mom is here, my two sisters are here. Two of them came from Paris, which says a lot, and my father hopefully is watching somewhere. I've received so much from my family. I can't. I mean, I could give a whole talk about it, but I've received a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of trust, a lot of support, and it did not stop when I decided to slightly change the course of my life and do this sort of slightly what can appear odd from the outside. And I must say that the support and the love and the care and the interest just carried on and even maybe increased. So it's meant so much, and we've all been very excited. At times it felt like my sisters were more excited than I was. I was joining the order. And it's meant a lot, and I know it's not easy, and I really, I'm very grateful. The LBC Sangha, I mean, there's so many people I'd like to thank, and again, that could be a whole talk. I'm going to name a few, but it stands for everyone who's helped me a bit and a lot along the way. So my community, my girlfriend Ariane, and my GFR group, my Going for Refuge group, each in their own way, at some point have again supported me, helped me, challenged me, and given me what I needed to get there. And I'm extremely grateful. I live with 9 guys in Samantavajra upstairs, and I was with 2, well actually I was with 4 of them on the retreat, 2 here and the 2 public preceptors, Yanavacha and Parambandhu. So yeah, thank you to them. And then sort of particular thank yous to 4 men who've particularly helped me along the way. Pranimanas, I don't know if he's here or not, but he is somewhere. He's doing a course. Anyways, he was my first contact with the LBC, and I don't think that without him, I'm not sure I would have fallen in love with the LBC in the way I did. And he's been an amazing friend throughout. And then Maitrishura was the one who, I think more than anyone, showed me that Buddhism is something for me to practice every day, not just for people somewhere in Asia, and not just for me to get interested twice a year when I feel a bit low or something, but actually something for me to practice every day. And I think more than anyone as well, he showed me very early on that the Dharma, Buddhism, is something just vast and unfathomable. And I think it was after a men's intensive led by Maitrikumara that I knew for the first time that I was going to dedicate my life to Buddhism. I just knew it, and I owe him so much. And then from knowing that I wanted to do it to actually doing it, there was quite a lot of energy that was needed to sort of steer the ship in a different way. The ship had been sort of on a fairly steady path up until then, and feels like more than anyone, Yanavacha has been the one who's given me the energy to actually ask for ordination and move into community and quit my job, and by sort of blowing my mind on a weekly basis with his thoughts, actually gave me the energy to do it. And it felt so right that he was the one to put this kesa around my neck and welcome me formally into the order. And I feel an immense debt of gratitude to you, Yanavacha. And then finally, Parambandhu, who might be watching from Wales somewhere, or maybe he's doing some gardening. Probably the latter. He'll watch it on replay. Parambandhu has been such an amazing friend. He's in a way, I feel like I've chosen him, but he's also definitely chosen me. Like he took interest, he befriended me, he saw something in me that I couldn't see myself, and he showed me just in very small ways, day after day, what it means to be an order member and maybe want to become one. And without him, I wouldn't be here now. So thank you very much, Parambandhu. So yeah, that's thank yous. Moving along to the retreat and ordination. Yeah, so I think fair to say that quite early on in my life, I've started having some sort of existential questions. I think I was aware quite early on how fortunate I was to be born where I was born, in the country I was born, in the family I was born, and a sense that I needed to make the most of it somehow, that there was a precious opportunity and that I needed to do something with it. But I didn't know what to do with it, and so what arose was anxiety around time passing too quickly, feeling like this opportunity was just slipping through my fingers. I was anxious about death. I was anxious about time passing. And one of the meaningful things that happen on the retreats, there's so many of them, but I think, if my encounter with the Dharma was starting to have sort of approach to start thinking about those questions, I think on this retreat I got definite answers, basically. So I felt like I on this retreat I got a massive yes on the fact that life is a very precious opportunity. The conditions we were in on this retreat with these 4 guys actually, and 20 of us. There's another one here. Were incredible. We were around with friends, with the Dharma sort of everywhere, with teachers guiding us every step along the way, living a very simple life, and feeling like becoming more and more sort of permeable with the Dharma, and that felt so precious. And then I thought, well, actually, my life in London isn't that different. I'm surrounded with friends. I have my teachers with me. The Dharma is everywhere all around me. And so these conditions, my life here in London is so, so precious. And actually, the Dharma texts that we were studying were telling me that just the fact that I'm a human and that I've encountered the Dharma is infinitely precious. And so it felt like everything around me was telling, this teenage boy and these intuitions, yes, you're right. It is very, very precious. But instead of it leading to the sort of anxious, okay, so what do I do with it? It felt like at ordination, particularly the private ordination, I was given this life of, okay, here you are. This is how you make the most of your life. This is how you live a life without regrets. So at my private ordination, Parambandhu named me Samantavajra. So for those of you who haven't come across, it means he who is an all-encompassing Vajra. If you haven't come across a Vajra, it's a symbol from Tibetan Buddhism. It literally, or I don't know if it's literally, but it's a diamond thunderbolt. So it's unbreakable like diamond, and it can pierce through anything like a thunderbolt. So it's meant to be the least breakable or the most unbreakable and the most powerful thing in the universe. And ultimately, it stands for ultimate reality. Only ultimate reality is unshakable, unbreakable, and can pierce through anything. And it has connotations of energy and strength and wisdom. And Samanta means all-encompassing, and my preceptor was very clear when he ordained me. This means everything, and particularly all beings. So my name is an exhortation or an invitation to use whatever energy, determination I have to realize ultimate reality, but by bringing everyone else with me if I can. And I love this name. It's a permanent reminder of why I'm doing what I'm doing, to get to the nature of reality, but for whom I'm doing. And it's not for me, it's for everyone. So that was the sort of direction of travel in this package that I was handed at private ordination about how to live a good life. But this point on the horizon is very, very far, and so I could never get there on my own. So I was introduced to a guide, Mayidam Manjagosha, who's the Bodhisattva embodying wisdom, and I've committed to meditate on him, with him, every single day, and let myself be influenced, changed by him, open myself up to him so that he can guide me more and more towards that horizon of actually becoming Samantavajra. But that's not quite enough still, because he's quite elusive, and he really wants to help me, but I'm not always listening and don't always understand his language. And so I was given 10 precepts, 10 ethical precepts, which are ways to behave in everyday life, how to live so that I can open up more and more and more to him, so that he can change me and I can actually travel a bit more in that direction. So after my private ordination, I felt extremely relaxed and full of energy like I had never been before. I felt like a huge, massive ball of energy. And I think that maybe it was these questions that I've had my whole life that had been answered and that were sort of releasing tension associated with them. I felt like I was given a life that was big enough to take all of my energies, all of my motivations, all of the sides of me could be brought on. And I felt like I was given a life that was big enough to just fully dedicate myself to it and not have any questions about whether I was doing something good or bad. Well, no, whether I was going to do something good, yeah? You got what I meant. So that was a hugely significant thing. I'm going to wrap up by thanking the last person I haven't thanked, which is Bhante Sangharakshita, who's the founder of our order and movement and who's on the shrine. So on the retreat, we were read Bhante's readings every day, sometimes several times a day, and I got I felt much closer to him, but also got a much stronger sense of the sacrifice that it took for him, personal sacrifice, to create what he's created. Without him and his sacrifices, I wouldn't have, and we wouldn't have these conditions for practice where people can actually realize how precious life is and how magical and how amazing. And without him, we wouldn't have ordination, which is this sort of life, this path, this way to actually make the most of this precious opportunity. So I feel so grateful, so fortunate that I'm somehow found myself in my life in a position to receive this gift from him, and that I'm going to be able to try to give some of it back in whatever way I can. Yeah, thank you very much.
Akshayapradipa. Yay!
You all look very beautiful. Yes, you all look very beautiful. And I don't know, I've been coming along to these evenings, and today it's me standing here, so that's a bit of an experience. And it's especially delightful because nowadays I'm mostly at the North London Centre, but I've done quite a lot of my training here and lived in community and been part of the Monday night team and Sub 35 when that was still a thing. So it's really, really lovely to be here. So I will say a few words about my journey to ordination. And in a way, it sort of started with a winter retreat. And I actually think these retreats should come with a health warning. They really should. Maybe there needs to be a little danger might change your life somewhere on the poster. So on that particular winter, by the way, I'm not saying don't go, I'm saying go, but things happen. So on that retreat, during a meditation, this sentence came to me, I could ask for ordination. And I then afterwards, after coming home, I talked to Suryagupta, and Suryagupta's advice on the topic was just, how about you just write your request letter and then you see how you feel about it. And that's what I did. And then one thing led to the next. It's been quite a process since then. And I could probably just say like one or two things. I think for me, from when I was quite small, I guess I was quite aware of what I would call injustice, and that's something I wanted to do something about. And I trained to be a doctor. I then went into public health. I became a climate activist. It's sort of that sort of external manifestation was always really, really important to me. But I think what I more and more recognized was that I really, really needed to sort of clean up my own act, really look at my mental states first. Otherwise, no matter how well my intention or no matter how well it sort of like looked from the outside, what I was doing, I would just basically create more harm. But the other thing I also realized was, I think for a while I was just looking around to my friends and sort of copying what they did, and actually ended up feeling quite unhappy about it. It was sort of looking probably like quite normal, but I wasn't very happy. And I think the great thing about Triratna, this Buddhist movement, is that because going for refuge is at the center, it really expresses itself in many, many, many different ways in people's lives. And you can seek out the artists, the scholars, you can seek out the activists. There is really quite a lot of breadth. And so, I went through a whole process of sort of looking at what it actually meant for me and in my life. And then one happy day, I got the invite letter for the long retreat, and that was very happy, until I then unfortunately found out that my work wasn't very supportive of me going. They wouldn't give me 3 months off. And so I had to make a very difficult decision. And I was thinking of my friends, some of them are here in this room, who got invited during the pandemic and their retreats got postponed, cancelled. So I was really, really aware of what a precious opportunity it is to go away for this amount of time. But also, I basically decided that there was a real urgency to go. I couldn't, like a friend asked me, could you not go next year? Maybe your work would be more amenable to that. And it's really difficult to explain this, that this is not only the most important thing in my life, but it's also urgent. So I quit my job, and then I had to explain that to my stepfather, and he was like, "You quit your job for a hobby? When are you going to pay into your pension?" By the way, I got out of that one by telling him I'm kind of becoming a Buddhist priest. That sort of made it all right again. Anyway, so moving on to Akashavana and how it was. So in a way, it was hot. There was a heat wave. And unfortunately, in our area, there were also some wildfires. We weren't directly affected, but we did see the helicopters going past. We also had COVID. So I think the precarious state of the world with the impending climate breakdown and pandemics was not lost on us, basically. And it's an environment where I sort of felt like a lot of the comforts of my daily living were removed. So I can sort of like make samsara a bit more like the suffering of daily life a sort of bit more comfortable by eating the food that I like, wearing the clothes that I like. That wasn't really available there. So the food was the food that was available, and the clothes were robes or blue hand-me-downs from friends, which, this is an aside, but I got this bag of clothes from a friend, which I had only given a cursory look until I went to Spain. And then I sort of drew a t-shirt out of the bag and put it on and realized that it was actually slightly too short. So I was wearing 2 short t-shirts for a while, and at some point when I got into my robes, somebody actually asked me what would the Buddha think? I actually think he wouldn't mind, but anyway. Yeah, so one of the retreat leaders actually said, one of the challenges for us will be to feel generous in an environment that triggers lack for us. But one of the amazing things was that we as a community, the retreatants, the team, we sort of provided everything that was needed. No matter if it was material things or any kind of support, somehow enough was there. And another side, but it's an amazing reflection to think about what you need for 3 months, what I need for 3 months, and also what people take on a 3-month retreat. Somebody found it quite unbelievable that I would take my cuddly toy with me. Little did she know that there is quite a long list of things I'd rather leave at home than my cuddly toy. He's in this room, by the way, anyway. Yeah, so I think it was an amazing experience just being part of this community of people looking after each other. But also what really made a deep impression on me was when there was a bit of conflict, when something hadn't gone so smoothly, we were just able to really talk it through, and it didn't stick, it didn't leave resentment. It was really some of the easiest sort of like resolving of conflict I've sort of experienced. And that really gave me a lot of confidence in this order that I've joined, and the potential of communication. And more, I started to think that this whole retreat and actually this whole order is built on love and generosity. Because, I mean, for example, the 5 women who were leading the retreats, they sort of gave us 3 months of their lives. There wasn't anything else that they could do. Like, they really just gave us, and they didn't even know us particularly well individually. And they were also really modeling harmony and how to work together in harmony. And that really made a very, very big impression on me. And so I'm a bit like, when I'm a grown-up Buddhist, please let me be able to live in harmony and sort of like be unfazed by difficulties and not have hissy fits about which soup for lunch. Anyway. And there is the woman who's leading the retreat center. She's actually originally from London, and she lives there, really quite remote, and is dealing with some quite difficult situations sometimes, like roads get flooded, cars break down. She takes it all with such a lot of grace. And again, I'm like, let me be like her, like be of service and not obsessed with my milk hurdles in the coffee or whatever. So yeah, I think this has really given me a lot of confidence in what's possible and what this whole order is in a way, because it can be a bit elusive sometimes. And in terms of what I think the other thing I sort of like took from it was something about I'm quite a nihilistic person, or I can be, and I think just being in this remote place, it was really able to enter into a sort of like mythical realm. And I've long sort of like wondered about this question, is the universe alive? Is consciousness only in us and some animals? But I think I feel way more confident about that. The universe is much more alive than I thought before. So, yes, and there was also, I think I got a glimpse of like the great love of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, those who've sworn to practice for the liberation of all beings. Which brings me to my name. So my name, increasingly I'm starting to think that it's also, the practice of my name is also patience, because it's quite long and unusual. But my name, Akshayapradipa, means the inexhaustible lamp. And there is a Buddhist text which it describes what that means. And it says, just like a lamp can light hundreds of thousands other lamps without being diminished. So a bodhisattva, somebody who has sworn to liberate all beings, can lead hundreds of thousands other beings to enlightenment without himself being diminished. Mm-hmm. And not only does he not diminish, he grows stronger as he practices his virtues. So there's quite a lot of work for me to do. Yes, I remain in great gratitude for my preceptor, Karunadi, for everything she's done, and also particularly this teaching and the name and my meditation practice. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing your journey to the retreat. You know, and this very courageous decision you had to make to leave your job, but the recognition that of the urgency of what you're embarking on. Yeah, it's really, really important to hear that. And I also appreciate the way you really described, well, a very honest account of community life in a mountain with heat waves and all of that, and the importance of communication. And in a way, I think all the way through, I was hearing the you know, you sort of expressing your qualities and bringing that out into the world, really, and how you actually have to deal with the issues that's facing you, whether it's in communication or in climate change or whatever it is. So yes, may your virtues continue to build as you practice, and may you benefit many, many beings. Thank you. Let's have one more before a little leg stretch. Yeah. Maitrishura.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Thank you, Suryagupta. I'm actually glad. Oh yeah, it's really amazing just coming here. It's really quite moving walking in. Just experiencing something that I, 5-6 years ago in Dublin Centre experienced. Seeing someone come back from ordination. I never thought I'd be on the other side of that. And I never thought I'd be in London. Never thought I'd be in England. And so thank you all very much. Really, Alexa. Really. It's first of all, just again, the thank yous. Like the Dublin Buddhist Centre, for me, I have to start there because they really introduced me to the Dharma. Yanadara, particularly, who was on the course in Maitrishura. If it wasn't for them, I'd be still in an existential mess on my YouTube at 12 o'clock at night, watching videos on how to figure it all out. And I don't think I'm alone in that. And so, where to go from there? And I'm thanking them for giving me the gift of the Dharma, for introducing me to Bhante, to Buddhism, to a way of life that just means the world to me, and has opened me up to so many things. And so it was kind of a straightforward thing for me. I just jumped in. I moved into community in Dublin for a few months, joined a Mitra study group, and then said I can't keep working the job I'm doing for 8-10 hours a day for money for a holiday that I was too tired to go on. And so I then left things in Dublin and came to England on retreat. And first, big thank you to Maitrishura for just reaching his hand out to me, being a real friend to me, real interest in my life, giving me real encouragement, and saying, why don't you come and see what the LBC is like? And I was like, great. And I've been here since. And it's just such a blessing. And Maitrishura does that for so many people, and I just feel so grateful to you. And on behalf of lots of people here, thank you very much. And then moving into the community with the two guys and the rest of them all here, and Parmabandu online. I'm sure he's watching. Big thank you to all. And then my working situated, thanks so much to Suryagupta for being my chair and our chair over the last few years, and giving me the opportunity to work here. The livelihood for me was the big thing. I couldn't square
spending hours a day doing something I can't get my heart behind. So yeah, working here and everyone working in the office, just thank you so much. And the wider team as well. Yeah, and then a big thank you to Yanavatu, who is my private preceptor, and I live with him upstairs, and such a friend to me, and such a friend to many people. So encouraging. Many times I come to the room in a tizzy, and just like, well, what's this? What are we doing? What are we trying to do? As humans. And he went, particularly in times of doubt or whatever, he really saw the best in me. Introduced me to so much. He's a true Dharma practitioner. I just can't. It's communicating on stuff that is way, like, just beyond comprehension. Being able to go into those conversations and trying to live up to something transcendent. To have that next door is just amazing. And then for his duty and his commitment to Triratna and responsibility, it's just amazing and true. And he does that with his love for his teachers, Subhuti and Bhante. And it's true, people like Yanavatra, Paramabandhu, Maitribandhu, that I've gotten to know Bhante, who I've never met, but he's, again, someone who saved my life. And I do meet him in my dreams, and I was at his funeral. And just to, again, have someone who can so clearly talk about the issues of life and what one can do about it, what the Buddha did about it. Really amazing. So yeah, and Yanavatra then gave me my name, Maitrishura, which means the hero of loving kindness. And it's such a gift. And wanting being named after my two Kalyana Mitras, Maitrabandhu and Vajrashura, back in Ireland, is for me, roots and connection mean quite a lot, and that made me well up in the ordination. So Maitri meaning loving kindness. It's really lovely just having it, being told that I'm a kind, caring, considerate person, and kind of just listen to that and be like, great, thank you. Because it's hard to kind of admit those things to yourself. And that is consideration goes out to all beings, and then to have it highlighted that self-metta is a very important thing as well. And I really worked on that in the retreat, and it means that I'm able to actually be more of a help to other people. And Shura meaning hero. It's just, I think of Vajrashura a lot, obviously, when I think of hero, and there's this kind of courage, determination to keep doing what's needing to be done, even when the chips are down, when things aren't going so easy. You're just like, I'm not going to just sit around here wallowing in my moods. Like, I'm going to try and reach out to other people. It's such a good context here to do that. And the Shura as well aspect of how I came to the Dharma is just reflecting on philosophy a lot, reflecting on life quite abstractly. Then the Maitri brings me back down to earth, and reflecting on the nature of reality, the purity of mind. It's just, that's what gets my juices going. And just like, if there wasn't that, I'm not sure I could get behind it too. And then on the retreat itself, a very sacred thing, with 20 men. It's so good to see Priya Shaksu here. Four of us were in a chapter together for the whole, she's an amazing person. He just really made me reconnect with the whole retreat. 20 men living in harmony in the mountains, like, where could you get that? Like, it's and I'm really, really proud of everyone on the retreat for doing that. And like, I have really good friends at home, and but it was always in pubs around the sports field that I get to know people, and that was good. But I'd never imagined I'd be able to sit in a lot of silence, a lot of reflection with 20 men and just have the life we're having. So just thank you to every one of them. And speaking of that, I'm very fortunate. Like, I've grown up in such a loving family. My parents and my extended family are very we do life stories a lot here, and when I hear people's lives, I just count my blessings, how straightforward I've had it. And to me, when I connect with that, it's like I can help others. So on the retreat itself, I really tried to reconnect with my first retreat, where back in Ireland, and I first went on, people were talking sense. They were like, this is how life is, this is what the Buddha said. There's impermanence, there's dukkha, there's suffering, and actually this thing that you think is so solid in yourself, that's actually not the case. And I really tried to get back into that mode on the retreat, a kind of beginner's mind, and I was just sit there in absolute wonder of, like, this is meaning in life. Like, this is not just something in a book or on a video, or it's like I was reading lots of poetry and philosophers, whatever, and some of them do quite well, but you read them and you're like, oh, you're so good, but you just didn't have a path. And I'm not in any kind of sense of their caliber and intelligence or lots of qualities, but I'm like this. I've been given a path here. I don't know what I've done in past lives to actually come across this. So, and then in the ordination, that's really what's brought out. I was in tears being given the Yidam Vajrasattva from Yanavatra. It's such an amazing moment, and being connected with Bhante's blessings all the way back to the Buddha. And then the public ordination, seeing everyone else being ordained with the case on their neck. It's just a magical thing. It's I feel so lucky to come back then to the LBC and to see the life I've had and all the cards and gifts that's left for me. And like 4 years living in the country, and so many people here I'm friends with. Like it's absolutely, I feel so lucky to everyone in my life. To be given the opportunity to live a good life, a serious life, a truthful life, that you can make a real difference in the world in ways that you can't even imagine you could. And the key to all of that for me has always been friendship, and everyone here that I'm friends with. I learn from being around people. That's why I throw myself into conditions, because I can't rely on just being by myself. I need to absorb from other people. Like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, or something like that. It's like I just want to open myself up, be receptive to everyone who practices in any shape or form. And there's no better place than here. It's just so amazing. So I really want to thank everyone, and it's really made a difference in my life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maitrishura. One of the things I love about this evening and evenings like this is that you really see people's qualities as they're speaking, and metta, Maitri, has so many different facets, different aspects. So, you are really expressing gratitude. For example, deep appreciation, a real understanding of the importance of friendship in growth. And receptivity, that was just like pouring out of you tonight. So really lovely, and I really, to be a hero of those qualities and many more is quite a task, but one that I can just see you have been reflecting on from young, in a sense. So well named, and I'm very much looking forward to you, keeping on throwing yourself in and receiving from all of that is here and the Dharma, but also giving, because I can see there's a real propensity. Well, I know there's a real propensity to give. So thank you very much, Maitrishura. Let's now have a break. Let's have a 10-minute leg stretch comfort break, and we'll be back in here for our next two speakers. That's fine, not too bad. No, it was. I do have the, because I don't have the so I was like, you could easily do. So I was going Yes. You know, how's your job? How's your job? Yes. You just started. Didn't you? Yeah. Yeah. We'll contact him again. Yeah. Oh, okay. In the cafe, in the thingy. That's. Oh, are you? Oh, wow. Okay. Great, I'm really pleased. You're looking really well. So. Yeah, great. So we're continuing with our stories of ordination, initiation, and now we have Acaladevi.
Thank you very much. Press start. So I did prepare for this talk, and with a bit of luck, it will make sense to you what I'm going to say. And with a bit of luck, I'm not going to cry. I would like to say a bit about my ordination, and not so much about the actual retreat, but more about why I've gone all the way and are now an ordained Buddhist. And then I want to say a bit about my name as well. So one thing that this is not how I wrote it down, but one thing I imagined, what I hoped was, you come back from ordination, and then this talk is just a doddle, you just stand here and it's very easy. It's not quite like that. Anyway, so I first came along to the LBC in 2007, so that's 15 years ago. So my process from that first meditation class to now being in the order has been quite slow, I think. I had been coming to the LBC for 6 years before I asked to become a Mitra, and then I asked quite quickly I asked for ordination, and now I'm ordained. So the reasons why it has taken me a while is, I'm quite cautious and careful by nature, but also I don't like to commit myself, and so that's why it took me so long to become a Mitra. And there's a part of me that has faith and that trusts in the Buddhist teachings and that believes that it's possible to gain enlightenment and that wants to become happier, kinder, wiser, freer. And then there's another part of me that is quite cynical and wants to drag me down and sabotages every attempt to make progress. So that was the reason why it took me quite a while to ask to become a Mitra. And then it has hindered me as well in my ordination process. So why have I stuck with it? It's because I don't want that second voice to win. I really believe that it's possible to live a positive, happy life. So then the retreat itself, I feel that it's a bit too soon for me to actually talk about my retreat experience. I don't have enough distance yet to what it was like to say something meaningful about it, except that it was very meaningful and for most of the time very enjoyable too. Like I said earlier, I had, against my own better knowing, I had this vague hope that somehow being on this retreat was like going in a washing machine, and then at the end a better, brighter version of myself would come out. In a way, maybe that has happened. It's a bit too early to tell, but it's not quite like that for me. So I'm still nervous, I'm still with doubt and that sort of thing. However, I am so happy that I have gone all this way and that I'm now a member of the Buddhist Order. When I was on the retreat, I still had my moments early on in the retreat where I thought, what am I doing? But by the time it came to the ordination, and the public ordination in particular, that was such an amazing, joyful day, and I had no doubt whatsoever that I was doing the right thing. And I still feel like that. I feel that I am now carrying something with me that is going to be of huge benefit to myself and to other people as well. So I came up with an image for what it means to be to me to be ordained, and it's a bit clunky, but so I have two metaphors. One is that through being ordained, I've put up some scaffolding to help me along towards more freedom and happiness, or it's like the guy ropes for a tent, to keep it up. So what is the scaffolding and what are the guy ropes? So one of them are the vows that I took when I was ordained. So you take 4 vows, and it really means something, and particularly for me when I'm someone who doesn't like to commit. I've said these things and I really want to stick to them. And the one vow in particular that has a lot of meaning to me is the 4th vow, which says, for the benefit of all beings. Because my cynical side says, well, yeah, for the benefit of all beings, that is a bit big, isn't it? But I think it really makes a difference that you do your practice not just for you, but for everybody. So that is one of the bits of my scaffolding that is going to help me forward. Then it's the precepts that we take to really try and live according to these precepts. another part of it is my name, and I'll come to that in a moment. Then there's my sadhana practice, which is, the Buddha figure that you take as your practice, and you meditate on this figure and you reflect on the qualities of this figure, which in my case is Akshayapradipa. And just being part of the order and be surrounded by so many people who are trying to do the same thing. And so that's why I'm very happy to be part of this and to be ordained. I see that I'm running out of time, and I want to say something about my name. So my name, Acaladevi, which means Goddess of Unshakable Awakening. When I first heard my name and when my preceptor explained the meaning of it, I was in shock. Because there is nothing timid about a goddess, and a goddess of unshakable awakening that is even bigger. And I was like, oh my God. It's a name for someone who steps forward with confidence and who doesn't hide at the back. So you will understand it will take a bit a while to grow into. But I was also very moved, particularly about the unshakable awakening, because I think my preceptor really saw something there. And for me, it feels like I've been given permission to just continue with my practice, and I can really have confidence and faith and relax into my practice and know that whatever I do, even the tiniest step, will take me forward. So that gives me confidence. I also feel it's like a carrot and a stick, because it's something to aspire to, which is very beautiful, but it's also a name that I will need to live up to. So if I start indulging in doubts and insecurity, I think, well, that's not really appropriate for someone who is unshakable in her awakening. So it's like it's also a baseline that I cannot go under. And then the Devi part of my name, which was very unexpected for me. So, I mean, goddess sounds a bit big, and Devi has more connotations of lightness and playfulness. Those of you who know me will understand that it's a quality that is very, very latent, and you really need to look for it very carefully. So I'm very grateful to my preceptor for drawing that out. So my name is an invitation to become a bit bigger and to become a bit lighter, which is very beautiful. Okay, I've gone a bit over. So I just want to thank my preceptor Acaladevi for her kindness and patience and support and wisdom. I want to thank the LBC to create this beautiful context for practice and for supporting me. My wonderful colleagues in Lama's Pajamas and Jambala, my lovely people in Indrajala, the community I live in, Dharma Sakya, who may be watching, who led my study group, my Mitra study group, the members of my Kula, Abhayanandi, Mahamani, Vishwantra, and of course Acaladevi for helping me along, and my close friends who have all been bearing with me and supporting me. And I thank you for listening.
Yeah, it's interesting around that part of you that, you know, sabotages. Actually, everybody has the doubt in one way or another, to different degrees. So I really appreciated you bringing that out. It's not always so straightforward. You know, the Buddha, right up until, you know, almost he became enlightened, had a voice going, well, who do you think you are to do this, you know? So it's something that we all have to work with. It's important to acknowledge that. So thank you for that as well. And I love your name. I love all the names. But yeah, sometimes names are a challenge. Sometimes names remind us who we really are when we don't see it. We can't see it because that's not been our conditioning. So I think it's a wonderful name for you. So well done, Panya Devi, and well done you, actually. And last but absolutely not least, we have, I think, our youngest person of this, group. Okay. You're probably tired of people saying that, right? Anyway, up you come. Maitrikumara.
Thanks very much. I've always dreaded this evening, but actually it's really nice. That's a really nice evening. It's so lovely to be in this room full of friends, and in the shrine room, which means so much to all of us. But it's particularly really nice that my parents are here as well. Mum and Dad are in the room. When I decided I wanted to be a musician when I was quite young, great for me, but sort of condemned my parents to endless, awful school concerts for years and years. And even now, the standards varies. But every time I've been doing something like that, they've always been sort of in the front row, showing their support and really proud, and showing that they're proud. So it means a lot that you're here as well. At probably the most peculiar gig you've been to. But also when we were up in Guya Loka, also things sort of get amplified there, and to know I had your support and love and care, it really meant a lot when I was up there. I want to start by saying thank you to you two. And I also want to say some thank you. So I want to say thank you to my two Kalyana Mitras, Maitrishura Bandhu and Deva Mitra. So in this tradition, the Dharma gets passed through in a culture of friendship, of spiritual friendship. This room is a great image for that. But you also get some official friends that you can ask them to be your friend, and they may or may not accept. But both Maitrishura Bandhu and Deva Mitra accept to be my friends, and you've just been such supports and guides to me and friends. I just want to say thanks for all the fun and the silliness, and but also the guidance. And I first came along to the centre when I was 19, and my problems were like of a 19-year-old, which to a Buddhist who's been ordained for 40 years might seem quite minuscule. But every time I've come to you for something, both of you you've always treated it, everything that I've come with, as if it's really important. And I just know that in you two, I've always got people who have my best intentions at heart, whatever it may be. Big thank you to you two. I also want to say a big thank you to my private preceptor, Jnana Vacha. So I first came to the Buddhist Center on a Dharma night, on a Monday night, and the first thing I saw was Untitled giving a talk. I was sat there and right at the front, and I can't remember what he was talking about, but I was just nodding the whole time, and I was sort of both relieved, because it was like someone was saying what I'd been feeling or thinking of or can express for so long, and he was there just saying it, and sort of relief and disbelief. I remember I was watching and then looking around at everyone being like, are you hearing this? You know, I kept looking around and everyone was like, oh yes, you're watching him talk. And I was like, oh. But I was, and I remember I actually then saw him again when I was at music college at the time, and I was coming out of college and I was loaded with instruments on my shoulders and hands, and I saw Untitled. We got quite a long sort of drive, almost like walkway in, and then there's the road, and I saw Untitled walking along on the other side of that road, and I sort of sprinted like a 50-meter sprint with all these instruments, bang, 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 to get to. I got to the end of the road, realised I had no idea who he was, sort of like his name, and I thought, like, I can't just shout out, "Oi!" But so I just saw him walk on, but yeah. I just saw him saying that. Anyway, but then to think that I'd be, living with you, Untitled, and learning from you, and then to be ordained by you as well. I couldn't really have imagined that it would have led to that. So I'm eternally grateful for what you've given me. And one of the things you've given me, that Untitled given me, is my name. So my name's Maitrikumara, which means the Prince of Loving Kindness. I was a bit like a rabbit in the headlight for the whole of the ordination ceremony. So I heard the words, but they didn't quite register. I was a bit like for the whole thing. Just to hear the name, I don't know if I liked it or disliked it at first, but Untitled went on to say why that was my name. And it was like, it was amazing. It's like he'd seen, it's like all this time we'd been friends, he'd actually taken in all of me throughout my life, summed it up in a name, and at the same time told me, if you want to deepen your practice, if you want to deepen your friendship, then this is your path. And if you do keep doing that, then you will eventually become Maitrikumara. It was totally amazing, and like I said, I didn't know if I liked it or disliked it at the time. I like it now, really like it now. But at the time, it just felt like, wow, that's really me. I don't know if that's, I don't know if I like the name, but that's definitely my name. I've just been reflecting on it throughout the retreat and since. So it's been a real gift. So thank you. So for my private ordination, I was with Untitled, and he introduced me to my name, and he also introduced me to my yidam, who's like others have said, a figure I'm going to meditate on and meditate with, hopefully throughout the rest of my life, and my yidam being green Tara, and it's a very strange experience, I guess, because it sort of felt like when I was formally introduced to Green Tara, it's like I'd just been touched by someone there. Very like sort of imperceptible, but then somewhere deep down, something had really changed. It's like something slightly in my DNA had changed, really deep down, and that only kept just revealing itself throughout the retreat and since coming back. It's like something's everything's the same. Like I've come back to my life, but something's really different at the same time. And I think that's sort of what that is was just going to keep unfolding throughout my Dharma life. So I'm really grateful to have a yidam. So in my private ordination, I was with Untitled. I got my name and I met my yidam. But also in there was definitely in the private ordination, Bhante was definitely there. And Bhante's teachers were definitely there. And I just feel, as the more I practice and the deeper I go, it's just like my gratitude and reverence for Bhante just keeps coming more and more. And the more I get to know him, and I feel like I got to know him a lot on the retreat, the more I get to know him, who also, one, like, who was he? Like, what was he? Where did he come from? Like, what planet did he come from? Like, and also getting to know him more, but also just becoming much more and more, just more and more mysterious. Like, who was he? I'm just so grateful, and I guess just to finish, when I was in the stupa in the ordination, there was definitely a real sense of Bhante and his teachers there, and sort of his blessings, I think, and his adhisthana coming through Jnanavacha, as it were, in this occasion. And I really think that there's something really special, sort of magical, coming through our lineage and through our tradition, through Bhante, through his teachers. And I feel like I felt it, and I'm so grateful. I feel blessed to be a disciple of his, to be a disciple of Jnanavacha and Acaladevi Mitras, and to be a part of the order that he founded. So, I'll leave it there.
Your description of the being touched by Green Tara, being when you've got your visualization, your practice, and your yidam, being touched in that way, and it's almost like affecting your DNA. That's what really resonated for me, and it sort of made me think that actually this event has happened, but it will play out over the course of your life, and something has radically shifted, and you don't know what yet, but it will express itself. It's very struck by that image. So thank you, and also the way you invoked the lineage. You're very inspired by the lineage. It's not, you haven't done this by yourself. You've done this with your friends, but they've been guided and supported by people that have gone before them. So none of us here can grow by ourselves, and we also need someone or some people who have really seen the truth, really, to kind of give us that momentum. And that's when you talked about Bhante and his teachers. So this whole centres, on the, really rests on the foundation of enlightened beings, or people that are very advanced spiritually. And we're touched by that in different ways. So thank you for really evoking that and sharing all your gratitude as well. Gosh, it's quite something, isn't it? I feel like I've been on all of these different journeys and gained something from all your qualities this evening. And somebody was saying to me in the break how articulate you all have been, and inspired, but also very honest about your experience. And you've really given us a glimpse into what's possible. The transformation that's possible when you commit. when you actually say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. And you've been trained to do that as well. It's been a whole process of preparation for that point. So thank you all very much for sharing with us this evening. And we're going to share our thanks. Should we do three? I mean, I'm waiting for something to come through the door. It hasn't quite come. But anyway, let's do 3 sadhus, which is sadhu is like fantastic, excellent, congratulations to all our 5 new beings, new order members, and who are going to be sharing their gifts with us as time goes on. Sadhu! 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 And we're also fortunate because you're going to lead us in a very short ritual just to close that part of the evening. And then there's tea and biscuits and mingling that can happen afterwards, and you can connect with them afterwards. So thank you. I'm going to hand over now to you.
Thank you, Suryagupta. So, yes, I'll be leading the ritual, which is a threefold puja, for those of you who know what that means. So, and this is to express, to celebrate and to express, our connection with the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha, and the community of the practitioners. So basically how this will work is I'm going to, in a moment, say some words, and you are free to repeat them back if you want to or not. There are 3 parts to this. We will hear a reading after the second part, which is a reading that we all really love by Bhante. And after the third part, we will chant a mantra, where we then have some opportunity to make offerings. So you can see there are candles and incense sticks here at the front. Probably because we're quite a lot of people, it would be good if you light the incense and then just turn it around and sort of like put it off again. And the mantra will go on until everybody who wants to make an offering has made their offering. And at the end, I'm going to ring a bell, and that will conclude the ritual, and then there is the tea break. Have I missed anything? Okay. So, just taking a moment to gather yourself, taking in what you've heard, connecting with the aspiration and the joy. The threefold puja opening reverence. We reverence the Buddha, the perfectly enlightened one.
We reverence the Buddha, the perfectly enlightened one.
The shower of the way.
The shower of the way.
We reverence the Dharma, the teaching of the Buddha.
We reverence the Dharma, the teaching of the Buddha.
Which leads from darkness to light.
Which leads from darkness to light.
We reverence the Sangha, the fellowship of the Buddha's disciples.
We reverence the Sangha, the fellowship of the Buddha's disciples.
That inspires and guides.
That inspires and guides.
Reverence to the three jewels. We reverence the Buddha and aspire to follow him.
We reverence the Buddha and aspire to follow him.
The Buddha was born as we are born.
The Buddha was born as we are born.
What the Buddha overcame, we too can overcome.
What the Buddha overcame, we too can overcome.
What the Buddha attained, we too can attain.
What the Buddha attained, we too can attain.
We reverence the Dharma and aspire to follow it.
We reverence the Dharma and aspire to follow it.
With body, speech and mind until the end.
With body, speech and mind until the end.
The truth in all its aspect, the path in all its stages.
The truth in all its aspects, the path in all its stages.
We aspire to study, practice, realize.
We aspire to study, practice, realize.
We reverence the Sangha and aspire to follow it.
We reverence the Sangha and aspire to follow it.
The fellowship of those who tread the way.
The fellowship of those who tread the way.
As one by one we make our own commitment.
As one by one we make our own commitment.
An ever-widening circle, the Sangha grows.
An ever-widening circle, the Sangha grows.
Why I am a Buddhist. Some people say that Buddhism is just an Eastern religion. This is what some Christians in the West say. They say that because Buddhism is an Eastern religion, it cannot be understood and practiced by people in the West. Such Christians forget that Christianity itself is of Eastern origin. But Buddhism is, in fact, not an Eastern religion. It is a universal religion. Even though Buddhism originated in India, it spread over the whole earth. Buddhism can be understood and practiced anywhere in the world because Buddhism addresses itself to the individual human being, regardless of race, nationality, caste, sex, or age. Buddhism is, therefore, the religion of man. This is one of the reasons why I am a Buddhist. I believe that humanity is basically one. I believe that it is possible for any human being to communicate with any other human being, to feel for any other human being, to be friends with any other human being. This is what I truly and deeply believe. This belief is part of my own experience. It is part of my own life. It is part of me. I cannot live without this belief, and I would rather die than give it up. To me, to live means to practice this belief. Therefore, this belief is part of my religion. It has nothing to do with the way in which I dress, nothing to do with what I call myself. It is a matter of the way I am, the way I exist. It is the way I naturally function in the world. This is what religion really is. It is what you most truly and deeply believe. It is what you are prepared to die for. It is your life. It is what makes you what you are. it is what makes you behave in the way that you do. Religion is therefore a very important thing. In fact, it is the most important thing.
Offerings to the Buddha. Reverencing the Buddha, we offer flowers.
Reverencing the Buddha, we offer flowers.
Flowers that today are fresh and sweetly blooming.
Flowers that today are fresh and sweetly blooming.
Flowers that tomorrow are faded and fallen.
Flowers that tomorrow are faded and fallen.
Our bodies too, like flowers, will pass away.
Our bodies too, like flowers, will pass away.
Reverencing the Buddha, we offer candles.
Reverencing the Buddha, we offer candles.
To him who is the light, we offer light.
To him who is the light, we offer light.
From his greater lamp, a lesser lamp we light within us.
From his greater lamp, a lesser lamp we light within us.
The lamp of Bodhi shining within our hearts.
The lamp of Bodhi shining within our hearts.
Reverencing the Buddha, we offer incense.
Reverencing the Buddha, we offer incense.
Incense whose fragrance pervades the air.
Incense whose fragrance pervades the air.
The fragrance of the perfect life, sweeter than incense.
The fragrance of the perfect life, sweeter than incense.
Spreads in all directions throughout the world.
Spreads in all directions throughout the world. Om